Hi everybody, my name is Desiree and we're going to get started here. Thank you for coming. We are the Real Women in Trucking. We are a driver organization and we're having this lady driver panel today. Let me tell you a little bit about the organization. We're drivers that started our own organization to talk about some issues that we felt needed to be addressed that we weren't hearing about very often, and to try to build some sort of a unity between some of us. We're not the most easiest people to get along with. That's why we have jobs where we work by ourselves. So it's really hard for us to form unity, and the women of trucking that are truck drivers, a lot of times we're all guilty of not making eye contact with one another, but at the end of the day sometimes we need a little help from a sister, and so that's what we're trying to kind of bridge that divide, sharing information and resources when you're having trouble, whether it's equipment, employer issues, sexual harassment, training issues. And we wanted to allow the women that were just not affiliated, sent here to speak for a big company to say what's on their mind. They love it, the pros and cons, some of the things they're seeing, some of the things they're concerned about. So we're really grateful to have Paul Taylor, the Truckers Justice Center, a well-known attorney to drivers, sponsor this event to let us do this, because we are a very small organization. We're having our first booth this year at GATS. We had our first cruise event. We're having a NASCAR camp out at Phoenix International Raceway in November, and our second cruise in 2018. And it's going really good. But we run on a shoestring, and we were able to, with that little shoestring, have a voice on the truck parking issues. Our brochures are up here in the front, and some of the media publications who have called us to ask for the drivers' opinions. And so our voice is getting out, and it is being heard, and a lot of that's due to social media, which we're really grateful for. So I'm going to give this to Paul so he can tell you a little bit about the Trucker Justice Center, and then we're going to introduce our panel.
Thank you, Desiree. Hi, my name's Paul Taylor. I'm been a trucking lawyer for 32 years and spent the last approximately 20 years as an employment lawyer for truck drivers. So I'm not one of those trucking lawyers that does tickets. I try to help drivers who have been unlawfully discriminated against in the trucking industry, and that's been the focus of my law practice for the last several years. We represent drivers who have been beat out of money in violation of the DOT's truth in leasing regulations, and we also represent drivers who get fired because they refuse to break DOT safety regulations. And some of the other things we do, the generic employment law, but with a focus on the trucking industry, because I grew up in the industry, and all my staff knows about the trucking industry, and this is who we represent. About 99% of our clients are drivers. And how I got to know Desiree was we had brought a case against Prime challenging a policy that discriminated against women in the hiring process, and we were successful at winning that case and got Prime to change its policy that the EEOC, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, had found to be discriminatory. And Desiree provided a lot of comfort and counsel to my client. I'm not always the most sensitive guy, and so she helped us on that. And I believe we had another case in which she provided some counsel, the kind of those personal touches for people. For a client of a major motor carrier, my client worked for a major motor carrier as a trainee, and she was raped by her trainer in a parking lot of a Lowe's department store. So I applaud the work that Real Women in Trucking do. I support it. I invite you to support it. They do run on a shoestring budget. They are not out there taking money from motor carriers. This is a shoestring organization that does great work. So I'm grateful to be having this opportunity to sponsor this forum. So thank you very much for being here.
All right, so we're going to introduce our panel here, and we're going to start off with Christina.
Hi, my name's Christina Dios. I've been driving for 10 years. I am a lease purchase operator with a company out of Knoxville, Tennessee. I've been with them for the last 5 years. Like I said, I've been driving for 10 years. I started with one of the mega carriers back in '07, and I had some issues, and I wound up actually getting 2 trainers coming into the system. And my first trainer, I was with her for a couple weeks, and I wound up having to do a whole new training session after the 2 weeks, so they started over my training. And after being there, that was some experiences I'm sure all of us have been through with training. And after 3 years, I believe, of being there, they asked me, said, "Do you want to be a trainer?" I said, "Sure." After the horrible experience I had been put through, I was like, I know how to treat people, and I don't want somebody else coming into the system to get treated the way I did. However, it's a realization that when you become the trainer, you see what type of drivers are coming in the screening process, I feel, for the trainers and also the mentors being on both sides of that, they need to be redone. They need to be seriously addressed and updated, because they need better training on several issues that, affect the women and how they're training, whether they co-train men and women. So that's one of the issues that really, I think, need to be addressed. And I'm really passionate about the women coming into the system and, getting the proper training that they need. And I'm happy where I've been a dry van driver. Most of my career, I have pulled flatbed, I have done reefer. I can't stand the loud noise of the reefer. It drives me batty. I'll move my truck to the other side of the parking lot. But anyway, I met Real Women in Trucking last year and went on the cruise, or this past year. I'm thinking last year, but I went on them with the cruise this year, and I didn't really know anything about them. I was like, a cruise, let's go. So I jumped on board, and then once we got on there and I heard Desiree's story, it kind of hit home. And so it's just like I wound up meeting a lot of people that have the same issues that I've had. And so it makes you even more passionate to know that there's other people that's willing to try to help these women that are coming into the trucking industry. And that's really what we need, is people like Desiree with Real Women in Trucking, and I'm proud to be part of that organization. So I'm going to turn it over to the next one now.
All right, thank you.
Oh, hello everyone, my name is Cheryl Pollard, and I've been in the industry for about 18 years. I started out working at a Greyhound bus station delivering truck parts, and that's where I became infatuated with big trucks, infatuated with everything about it. And also, once I did that, I went into the trucking, selling parts for trucks. So that's where I learned the mechanicals of a truck. I couldn't tell you nothing about the 2017s today, but I can tell you about the older trucks, the way they were. But then I went into learning how to do transmissions and drive shafts. So like I said, I've been doing in the industry since I was about 19. I got out of it for a while. I went down some other roads, had babies, and did some things that I wasn't supposed to. And then I got married for about 20 years. And then one day, after about 20 years of lovely bliss, we went our separate way, and I'm being nice. But anyway, no, I tell everybody I ran away from home to learn how to drive a truck. And that's what I did. It wasn't an easy task, because at that time my children were just about grown, and I had to leave them behind. I've pretty much always been a single mother, so the task has not been easy learning how to drive the truck, and I was also going through a 20-year divorce, so it was It's not easy. And I went to Snyder National Carriers. I've hauled flatbed. I've done reefer. And today I currently do a dry box. I'm an owner-operator. I haul for a company called Rudolph Freight out of Murray, Kentucky. I'm sorry, I get lost sometimes. But anyway, I've been doing this for a long time, and today I'm an advocate of the industry. Like I told you earlier, I had got out of the trucking industry for a while and went in another direction, and when I got back into it, a lot of things had changed. And that's when I found out that I needed to be a part of instead of just behind the wheel complaining. And that's where I'm at today. I'm here with the real women, the ladies in trucking, and any other, a lot of other groups that are out there trying to make our industry better. And you can't make it better if you're not active. And that's what I'm trying to be today, is active in our industry. Thank you.
Aloha. No, hold on. It doesn't go like that in Hawaii. When I say aloha, you say aloha. 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 Nice. Hi, my name is Cheryl, and I'm from the island of, Honolulu, Hawaii. I'm 47 years old. I've been a truck driver for 25 years. I have a daughter, 22 years old. She's in the Air Force. I'm married to a handsome husband for 21 years. I'm a lupus survivor. I've been on dialysis for 7 years, and I also had a kidney transplant. I love my job. I have been doing roll-offs. I move containers. I'm a super dump driver, and I'm considered right now to be a paver. I pave a lot of the county roads that we have on our state. I am sorry, I'm blanked out. I love my job. I don't know what else to say. I love my job. I deal with a lot of men, and they are great in Hawaii. I mean, they're good drivers. They're always teaching us good habits, and that's about it. Sorry. Thanks. Thank you.
What about your group?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was stuck in the aloha thing. Anyway, I am a founder of Ladies of Hawaii Trucking. Thanks to my husband. He's been a big support for Ladies of Hawaii Trucking. We've been coming together as ladies, trying to come together, like Desiree says. We try to come together, teach each other, and also share our stories with other ladies. We also help teach our elementary students trucking industry. And also, we have charities. The charities are American Cancer Society, the Lupus Foundation, and the Legacy of Life. And we also have we do a lot of community work too, so thank you.
Hi, I'm Sonya Tucci. I started driving truck actually July 4th of 1994, so I call that my personal Independence Day. The trucking industry has opened up doors that I never would have been able to have open for me if I'd have been in an office job, grocery store, something like that. The pay for us is awesome. I've driven flatbed, reefer, tanker, just about anything you threw at me, I wanted to do it. When I first started, I would sit in restaurants, find the oldest drivers in the truck stop, keep my mouth shut, keep my ears open, and listen to what they had to say. That's the only way some of us were going to learn. Like with the rest of the ladies, the training was subpar. All they wanted to do was, let's make money, let's drive, let's drive. They didn't care if we learned or not, as long as they got that paycheck. That's one of my passions, is making the industry, the companies, come together and make the roads safer. Teach these people. Don't just be out there to make that dollar, because you're going to lose it with what they do to somebody on the road. Okay? And to me, that is very important. And companies and drivers need to come together. We shouldn't have to come to truck shows, which they're great, don't get me wrong. But some of these drivers don't even know the issues that are going on. Laws are passed things are changing. Drivers are out there in trucks not even knowing. Not everybody's connected to the internet. I think companies should be on our side also, because we're the one making them the money. Those people sit in the office, they're not the one bringing in the money. They're helping us, but they're there to assist us. You know, they're not the ones actually bringing in the money. So they should be out here telling us, hey, this law is coming in, that law's coming in. What do you think? Keep us updated. You know, be part of us, not us against them. And to me, training, train. That is just something that it's got to be improved. There's got to be a general system. Like one company, we're going to do 2 weeks. Another company, 6 weeks. There needs to be a standard for safety in this industry, not hit and miss. And that's one of my passions. That's why I love Real Women in Trucking. They understand, because all of us are drivers. We've been there. We've been through the ups and downs of the industries. And so we have the real feel. If a driver comes up and says, hey, we need help, we understand. We've lived it. We've seen it. And Desiree, she has helped so many people that she's a godsend to everybody. Giving us an opportunity. I went many years. I had no support at all until I got up with this group. And it just made a total difference on how I feel about the trucking industry and my job as a whole. Thank you.
All right. It takes a lot of courage for them to get up on this stage. You know, we live in our trucks and we don't interact with other human beings very often. And it's so, it's been like we've had to work with them just to even have the courage to come up here and talk to you guys. So they definitely deserve a huge round of applause. We're going to ask them some questions. Just thank you. And I'm going to hand it over to Idelle. You want to use this one or you want to use that one? Idelle is our treasurer of Real Women in Trucking. And she's also a TA Petro Citizen Driver Award winner. If you've been to the Little Rock, Arkansas Petro, it says Idella Hansen on the top. That's her. So she's going to ask some questions. If you have questions of our ladies up on the panel about driving, the things they love, the things that they're concerned about. But I want to hear about you first. Tell us about you. And you said something the other day about how you feel when you sit in the seat.
I've been driving almost 50 years, and she's just pulled a surprise on me. I wasn't supposed to have to say anything. To this very day, I wake up in the morning, I'm happy, I'm ready to go. Don't get me wrong, I get tired, I get wore out, I hurt. But I sit in that seat, settle myself down, and I don't slump over the shoulder and I think, oh my God, I gotta go. It's like a rush. My blood starts pumping. I know what I'm doing and I'm good at it. It comes from here. It's not just a job for me. It's not your job, and it's not her job. It's my job, it's your job, and we can do it well. I do mine well, you can too. And the young ladies and the young men coming into the business, they can do it well too with help. We've got to educate, we've got to give them the opportunity to educate them. We need to point them in the right direction. We need to give them mentors so that they can go, and this is what this is all about. These ladies are awesome. And I've helped a few over some rough spots by visiting, carrying. And now these ladies are going to help me because I'm getting to be an old lady and I'm starting to be a cripple. So, does anybody out there have a specific question for one of the drivers? Raise your hand. Oh, come on, people. Come on, don't let me do this. Yes, ma'am, just a moment.
I forgot your name, but the lady that's from Oahu, Cheryl. Yeah, Cheryl. I work for an employer that hires Class B drivers in IAEA. Okay. And I'm having a difficult time finding people, and I don't know if you what is the culture like in Hawaii to try to attract drivers? Is it like where should I go out? And I've actually gone to the work services you know, like hiring at Hawaii and some of
Yes.
those. But where do drivers typically look for jobs when they're in the island of Oahu?
Actually, a lot of them goes through Craigslist.
Okay, I just posted something on
Yeah,
Craigslist.
I think that would be the best spot to go to.
Okay,
A
okay.
lot of people use that. Not so much the newspaper anymore.
Okay.
There's few people that still uses it, but I think because everything's online,
Right.
so you can go to the newspaper online as well too.
Exactly.
But I think more in the Craigslist,
Okay, that's good because I've also got jobs in Maui as well. So
and also word of mouth. You know, a lot of people
Right.
know people by
right,
families.
it's a networking thing primarily for
Uh-huh.
the people in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
But
thanks.
I can get your address too, and I can post that. It usually helps.
Well,
for
I'd like to
social-
have your card
Okay,
if I could.
that
so-
would be nice.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
That's networking at its best. Now, Class B drivers, you don't have any problem with the women or the men, do you? Just as long as they're good drivers, right? Absolutely. I knew that was the answer. Okay, does anybody else have a question? Okay, we're all shy. We're all very shy. As a trainer, Christina, as a trainer, did you find that some of the trainees had problems when they came on board with you? Don't describe the problem, but did they have problems and were they informed in what they were getting into? What do you think? No, that's okay.
I trained male and female,
Yes, ma'am.
and it appeared like I had a male come on the truck that was real cocky, and he didn't want to listen to me at all. And females would come on, but some of them really didn't know what they were getting into.
So do you feel that they need more education?
They definitely need to be informed of what it's
More
really
resources.
like. More resources. They need to be, when they come in, they need to explain, hey, you're not going to see your family. You're not, like the company that I started with, the mega carrier, it's supposed to be like, I think 6 to 8 weeks of training. There's X amount of hours that boils down to 6 to 8 weeks of training. And what they don't realize is, they think they can talk on their cell phones, and there's a policy that you're not allowed to talk on your cell phones, and you have issues with, the families and stuff like that, and that's something else you need to say, when they come into training, while you're on the truck, you're not allowed, while you're in that seat, to communicate with anybody. Once you're done, or you take your break, or whatever, you can get out and communicate. The length of time, you might miss birthdays, holidays, and things like that, and they think, oh, well, I can go home every holiday, and it's not like that.
So you find that the drivers coming into the industry are woefully misinformed and uninformed.
Right.
Cheryl,
Yes, ma'am.
I heard what you said, and you went to trucking. You said, good money. Was it necessity? Was it finances?
For me to go into trucking, I went into trucking for financial reasons because when I left my husband, I left him with no jobs or anything, and because I got sick, and so yeah, it was finances, and I went to several different trucking schools, and for whatever reasons, they wouldn't take me. But Snyder National called me and said, you know what? You got a good record, good history in your employment histories. We're going to give you a try. And that's where I went.
So this has provided you independence.
Yes, ma'am. I tell you what, the independence that I have learned and grew into just being out here on the road with men I have learned to stand strong. I had to, and I agree with Christine. These people are not telling the truth. This is a hard job for a woman in this industry, and you got to be tough as nails. And if you're not, you better become tough. You have to, and that's all part of being independent. And it's not about men or women. It's just this job alone. You got to be tough as nails, and you got to be willing to miss that funeral. And I missed a few of them because
We
I had to do
understand.
this.
We understand. So it's provided you financial and independence and
Yes, I have. Yeah, I make really decent money. I'm an owner-operator, so there are some weeks I don't make money, but there's a lot of weeks I do, and I average out. For a woman, I make damn good.
So you're independent and self-sufficient.
That's the only way I'll have it.
I love it. I love it. Cheryl, do you? Yeah, you gotta give her the mic, sweetheart. Do you find that there's a big difference between the trucks between here and on the islands?
Yes, there is. There is and there is not. So,
You don't have the big fancy trucks? Well, no, I saw some fancy trucks, but do they have sleepers?
no. Not,
You
they're
don't need
all
a
day.
sleeper.
No, we don't have sleepers.
And you don't go sleep at the truck stop?
We don't sleep at the truck stops. So that's the difference.
Do you have parking problems?
No, no parking problems.
Oh,
We don't
wouldn't
have-
that be amazing? Wouldn't that be absolutely amazing? No parking problems. Good golly,
We
Miss
have
Molly.
no bathroom problems.
Oh, really? England has problems. They're constantly talking about the issues, facilities for the drivers in England. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
Right. But we do have one thing that we are all similar is that all the ladies are all dealing with the same kind of issue.
Oh, absolutely.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. And trucking provides us independence, self-sufficiency.
Definitely.
It really does.
Yes, it does.
And you love what you do.
I love what I
And
do.
it gives you the ability to support your charities and do community relations.
Yes.
That's the other thing we're looking for. Community relations. We want to get these people to stop saying, we don't want a truck stop. We don't want the trucks in here. We've got to build community relationships and show them that we are the mainstay of the country. Miss Tucci,
Yes, ma'am.
you know, I don't know what to ask you.
I know. I know where your glasses are, though.
Miss Tucci has kept track of my glasses all week long. You have a question?
I have a question. I have a real good question.
Thank you.
I'd like to know if any of the OEMs ever talked to any of you, any of you ladies, any of your groups, because we always seem to interview male drivers. We never seem to get your perspective when we're building or designing a new truck. Has anybody ever been questioned and say, hey, I would like this or I would like that? Has that ever happened?
No. And y'all need to quit giving these little cubby holes where you can't get in there and clean.
I hear what you're talking about. But that's why I wanted to come up and ask you. Because I heard you guys talking, and I'm like, you know, we did like 10,000 interviews. I'll bet you I don't think of any other woman that, I don't think it's happened. So, I work for an OEM. When you guys get done, I'd like to have a chance to talk to one or two of you and see what we can do about changing that.
That'd be great.
Thanks.
Okay, I believe I missed a young lady back here that had a question.
Hi, my name is Kenya. They call me Lady K. I've driven here from Florida so that I can see what it's like to be OTR before I start school in September. And I've been researching since about December. And so the Great American Truckers Show is my last bit of research before I start school. So I'm pleased as punch to be here and to meet you ladies. And I made, it straight away to come here. So one of my major questions is, what is a surprise that I'll learn starting out in the first year that nobody will tell you besides, the BS that the recruiters say? What's one of the most shocking things, that's just straight from the hip that I need to know?
Shocking. You're going to get in areas, everything you've been taught as a woman growing up, don't walk down alleys at night. Don't get out next to a van. You're going to be out in alleys. You're going to be around homeless people. You're going to walk through neighborhoods that you thought you would never, ever be on your own in. You're going to have to go in there like, I own this place. I broke down the ghettos in Chicago. Well, that was back before we didn't have Qualcomms, so we didn't have cell phones. I went, okay. So I went and took all my jewelry off, walked through there, was cussing myself like, they probably think, what's this crazy woman? I was acting crazier than they were. That's what you're going to do, You're going to, everything you've been taught is going to go right out the window. But you still got to worry about your safety, be aware of your thing. But to me, that was the main thing. Going, you want me to Get out where? Oh, okay. But you still got to do it because that's part of your job. You just kind of go, I can do this, I can do this.
Thank you, young lady. Does anybody else have a question? All right, just a moment, please. You would be on the other side of the room. I'm doing just fine. How are you?
I ride with Cheryl for the last year, and I want to know if any of you other ladies face the same thing. There's a lot of discrimination. We'll be backing in the dock somewhere, or we'll be a shipper or a receiver, and I'll be on the ground trying to help. I'm going to chalk the tires, I'm going to drop the trailer, and the guys on the dock will automatically ask me, is that your student? Or is her first? And I tell them, excuse me, that's her truck. She owns that truck, That's the boss. Do you other ladies face that? Do you automatically get discriminated against like that?
Okay.
Because I'm a guy and she's a woman?
Well, this is what happened one time. I went into a big company, and they told me to back into something like Dock 26. I said, okay. I said, it'll take me a minute. They go, well, that's all right. Well, have your husband go ahead and back it in for you then. I said, well, that may take a while. They go, well, that's all right. We got all day. I said, no, I got to call him. He's got to go to truck driving school. He's got all the trainer, then he'll be here. And they're like, they actually got mad at me. But I said, don't automatically assume. Just like sometimes you walk through places, they don't treat you like a driver. You go to, here's another one, restaurants and truck stops. You sit in the driver's section, okay? One come up and go, are you a driver? No, ma'am, I got this body from being a runway model. What do you think? Okay,
Oh, I like
Seriously.
that. I like that. I'm going to answer that question myself with an example. Years and years and years ago, and I was going into Red River Armory, and I had a load of smoke grenades on. Pulled up my little Western Star there and parked, and when they opened up, I went up there to the guard shack and handed him my paperwork. And this was 35 years ago, maybe. And he says to me, he said, I need the driver of the truck. And I looked at him, I said, did you not see me get out of the truck? He says, yes, ma'am, but I need the real driver of the truck. I said, well, we got a problem. I says, because I'm the only person in the truck. He says, well, I need the person that drove the truck here. I says, you're going to need to go find your supervisor because I own the truck and I am the truck. So is that discrimination? I don't know if that's discrimination. It's an attitude. It's an attitude, a misnomer, a mistake. Yes, sir?
What I see it as is when a guy comes in the truck, they get their respect automatically. A woman has to work twice as hard to earn it. That's the way I see it.
Absolutely. I had to work twice as hard.
They have to work twice as hard because
I had to be there first. I had to be first in line. I had to do a better job because if I didn't, I always got criticized. But that's not true anymore for me. Now, I don't know about the rest of the ladies. Apples and oranges. I've been doing this so long, and everybody knows me, so yeah, they know I got a bad mouth. Desiree, are you ready to take it over?
Well, we're almost at the end of our time, but we could talk about so many other things. I want to ask a couple really quick questions because we did this on our cruise, and that's where the kind of idea to let them talk about their job, things we don't hear about very often. That Sonya is a tanker driver for food grade. That when I first started driving and I'd hear about tanker drivers, I automatically assumed gasoline and hazardous chemicals, not even occurring to me that raw materials for ice cream come in tankers and milk and all these other things that we eat every day. So it's like a whole different animal. And once I actually met a couple female food grade tanker drivers. I'm like, yeah, they don't even work as hard as what I was working because somebody else does a lot of the work. They just got to have the sample to make sure it's good, and they go to take a nap. So I thought that was very interesting. And then talking to Cheryl on the cruise, where she was hearing all these horror stories from our training system here in the continental United States, she was like, we don't have any of that here. And in fact, the culture is so different that, go ahead and say what you were saying is, and I was asking you, what's the the culture like with regards to the men, and the man, the women kind of, you said, kind of wear the pants in the family, the culture over there. I don't know if your husband will agree or not, but
Kind of, but I won't go there with that part. But no, for the most part, I believe that the cultural differences is that the men, because we're all a lot of families grow up together, and a lot of them, the moms are the most important person in the families, and they kind of listen to the moms. So when they go out there in the work field, they work with the ladies, and they work with us. They're not snotty. They kind of help us out in the field, which is a good thing, and it helps everybody out. Everybody's all friendly and yeah.
not trying to compete with you and trying to lay that gauntlet
Well,
down.
we have few men, but not for the most part. Everybody tries to help each other out. We have a few of them, and I think they're the older ones. They kind of accept.
Okay. So, all right, thank you. And Cheryl, you become an advocate, and you've changed from hanging out with these ones to hanging out with those ones, and really quickly, if you want to mention your pet projects.
Some of the projects that I'm involved in is I'm involved with Operation Black and Blue, and I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but we're going to protest in Washington D.C. on October 3rd through the 8th. Not only against the ELD, but other things involved with the ELD, because at this point we're going to have them, but the regulations behind them are unrealistic in a lot of the drivers' eyes. Two, I'm honored to be a part of Real Women in Trucking. I'm the baby of the bunch. I'm still learning what we're about, but I know they're real, and I know they're real drivers, and there's not many groups for women, so that's why I'm chose for this group. I've looked at a couple other women groups, and I'm not about the drama. Sorry, women are about drama, so I like people that are, about action. And y'all can find me too. My husband and I are on Baby Doll Trucking. I did a radio show for Trucking Roundup. That's how I started getting active in the trucking industry. And y'all can find me at Facebook, Baby Doll of Trucking, and Two Shoes Magoo. We do funny videos to make the drivers laugh. And also I get the honors of being this gentleman's music manager, Terrence Mathis, aka Jake Great Junkie. I kind of brought him out of YouTube, and we're going to see where we can go with him. Thank you.
Awesome. You want it? You gonna be good? If you're not good, I'm gonna whip you.
I'm Pat Hockaday. I'm kind of hoarse. I am a mission support member of Real Women in Trucking. Yes, men are welcome. I make myself available to the ladies. If they need me, they call me. It's as simple as that. These women know so much. It's impressive. They know the workings of the truck. They know laws. This is a very resourceful group of women up here. They know their stuff, many of the members that I work with. So I just want to encourage any of you men folk, you want to make yourself available. I became a member because I figured my mother was a very strong woman. And you get a woman pissed off and she's going to make things happen. And we need to start making things happen in this industry. Now, question for the panel, please. I'm at the truck stop. I treat the women drivers just like I would a man driver. Hey, how you doing, brother? I've had women get all pissed off. What are you coming up grabbing me? What's the best way for us men folk to show you respect and treat you as the drivers you are? Because we're kind of lost. How do we treat you? Oh, I want to be treated just like you treat everybody else. But when I do that, I almost get slapped. So, get that
You like
synced
to
off.
get slapped because you touch us, for one. Not everybody likes for guys that we don't know, especially other drivers, to just come up and, hey, how you doing, buddy? We're not one of the guys. We are, but we're not. You know, we're females, so we have that distinct. You can go hug on all the guys you want, like, hey, buddy. But when it comes to a female, approach us like you would approach your mother or your sister or your niece or somebody like that with some respect.
She just doesn't agree, that's all.
Just show respect is what I'm saying.
Respect. Yeah.
Respect.
There's nothing wrong with a handshake. There's absolutely nothing wrong with a handshake, is there?
I want to say a lot of the women that I've met that have entered trucking have been abused, raped, molested, been in jail. They're very apprehensive about strangers approaching them. They work in a dangerous environment. They're always watching their back. You don't know them. You should never put your hands on somebody that you don't know, just as a matter of practice, because you don't know what they've been through and you don't know how they're going to react to it. So what might be not offensive to one person could scare the crap out of somebody else. So at a truck stop, I think the best thing is be polite to everyone, say hello, hold the door open for the men. If they hold the door open for you, say thank you very much and leave it at that.
I think that applies to men too. Ladies, keep your hands to yourself. A handshake will work.
Yes.
And a thank you. Everybody should keep their hands to themselves.
Yes.
All right. Are we ready to finish up?
We're going to wrap it up, and we got something special for you guys that attended. We have these special cookies, and I'm going to give them to the ladies first because we want to make sure they gave it. So, Christina.
We would like, Paul Taylor would like you to come up and get a hat from Truckers Justice.
No, it'd be handy out to you
Absolutely.
guys.
He was kind enough to bring us hat. And we have some brochures about our, boy, I just went blank. NASCAR weekend, our NASCAR weekend and our cruise coming up, and brochures, and Desiree's got her business cards up here. You know, all the stuff that I brought to the parking lot and the meetings and everything, I left my business cards at home and my belt. What truck driver goes from home without her belt? I don't know. I want to thank all you ladies for coming. I want you to give all the ladies up here a big hand, please. We want to thank Desiree for being our leader and starting all this stuff. Thank you for coming. Come get a cookie, come get a brochure, come get a hat, shake the ladies' hands. Are we done?
Yep. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Paul Taylor, for sponsoring it and letting us get up here, Truckers Justice Center. Thank you.